I don't know how to use this. I use blush. It's nice. So, hi. Finally, nimeamua nifanye hiki kitu. It feels bad when you have insight on something and then you just don't do it. Reason for not starting these sex talks is because I wrote 60 episodes. That is like 3 seasons because I divided them into season 1, season 2, season 3. Alafu nikaona you people don't watch my content. Okay, you watch my shorts and I'm grateful, but you don't watch my videos. So I was like, I do a video and it can get even like 40 views in a whole year. And I was like, I can't. But anyway, since these things feel so dear to my heart, even though I get one view, it will break my heart, but I'll do it. It's 60 episodes, meaning 60 days, meaning 2 months, and I'm done. I've been having the push to just look for an hour of my day, nifanye kitu. The issue is every time I decide I'm going to do it, I'm like, but people don't watch. But here I am. Nimeamua. I will not be victimized by circumstances. I'll fight circumstances and make something out of my life. So this has been a push mainly from my friends, and they're like, you have to find an hour and do these sex talks. Hi. I see there's one person viewing me. You can say hi. My name is Elysian. Welcome to my sex talks. I'm Kenyan. I'm saying I've been feeling the urge. This is the second year. I wrote 60 episodes on sex education. I was supposed to start them last year. Then I started doing some videos and nobody was watching, so I gave up. But here's me coming back. YouTube, I'm back with a bang. So the sex talk today, I'm going to take an hour. I don't know if I can do a whole hour live. I feel like I'm just talking to myself. But the sex talks today, we're going to talk about the sacredness of sex. Sex is sacred. It's so sacred that it's said to be the thing that unites gods and men. Like it's a thing that is after heaven, the thing that can bring you close to heaven is sex. But at the same time, the thing that can destroy you, ikuharibu, ukwe you are a myth, it's sex. So why am I talking about sacredness and sacredness of sex today? Because in the world that we are living in, sex is just casual. People hook up, meet up and hook up like this. But the thing I have personally discovered about these meetup and hookups, they never end well. Okay, in 1-2% people even end up in marriage and everything. But even in those marriages, because sometimes we assume marriage is the end, but even in those marriages, you find your marriage equals sour. Because I feel like if this is the gift that we human beings have been given, this gift of sex that is meant to reproduce, and for human beings it's also for pleasure. If it's such a gift, it should be held in high esteem. It should be held with value. It should be treated well. It shouldn't be casual. I'm African, I'm Kikuyu in origin, and for what I've learned about African culture is that sex was held in high esteem and sex was respected. There was a place for sex and sex was revered and sex was treated with a lot of respect. What I've been learning, okay, I don't know, after colonization and everything, there are a lot of things that we as Africans have lost to modernization and colonization. Like our minds have been colonized to forgetting ourselves. But from what I have been learning, like in traditional African society, sex was held in very high esteem. Every single person, from a child to a youth to a woman to a man to the elderly, all of them walikuwa wanajua. They used to know that sex is divine, and if there's something that each and every individual in a society should do is keep their holiness, kutojichafua, keep your holiness, ila you don't contaminate yourself. Africans actually are very sacred people. There were rules in society, and these rules were meant to make sure that the connection between a human being and God is always aligned in such a way that if there's a calamity and people call unto God, God would be kind enough to listen. God would be gracious enough to come through and help. But Now, that is what even gives sex its sacredness. In traditional African society, men were polygamous. A man could have more than one wife. But even though he has more than one wife, sex was not just something that you just go about, that you meet someone and you just go with them and inaisha hivyo. They used to even have, like, if you go out and you meet this woman and you sleep with her, you have to do a sacrifice for yourself to cleanse yourself, and you also have to give that woman, like they used to, like in Kikuyu they used to give them ati goats, so atenda kwake achukue mbuzi apeleke kwa hiyo mama ingine, like he'll take a goat from his household and take it to that woman, showing that woman, even though I slept with you, it's not like I devalue you or anything, because the act itself, sex itself, is sacred and it's not something to just be passed over. So now we're in Feb, and in Kenya last month we had a lot of femicide, and some of these femicide issues were resulting from sex related incidences. Like if you're meeting up with a guy in an Airbnb, you're meeting up to, you know what, you're going there for, of course you're going there for the capital sex, and the issue is there's, it's not sacred in that aspect, it's not sacred. I know life is sacred, and I know that even these women who were killed because of these femicides in the Airbnbs and all that, it was very bad. But at the same time, the sacredness of sex is what we should let all of us know, that that's not the right setting for sex. The right setting for sex is in an institution where, like marriage, and it's not because, in society these days people don't even believe in marriage itself. But let me tell you, in my personal opinion, from learning and living the few decades that I've been here, I have learned that if there's something that will destroy you in a heartbeat, is sex. When you just go about sleeping with everybody and anyone, the first thing is you could get an STD. STDs hazina mwisho. STDs. One, there's easy come vitu kama HPV, there's HIV, there's syphilis, there's gonorrhea, there are endless UTIs. But let me tell you, these things can traumatize somebody. You will have sleepless nights. You will be beating yourself up and you're like, oh my God, I'm suffering. My body is suffering like this because of a few minutes of pleasure. Like, was it actually worth it? Was it that good? Was it that good that sana meza madawa hapa? Was it that good that now I'm stuck in a whole thing? Now in Kenya, when we are dealing with all these issues of femicide, I also like watching international news, and I like celebrity news, kwanza the US and everything. Them, they were dealing with other issues of celebrities and all the things that have been going around in Hollywood, about how people have been, for the US it's even worse, now showing how dirty people can actually be. Like they've been talking about this whole thing about PDD and Jay-Z, and about celebrities, Hollywood celebrities, and how people actually came to be who they were. That for you to make it in Hollywood, somebody has to like defile you as a child and get you into acts that are not very good. Okay, we live in a society where homosexuality is acceptable, but personally, I'm homophobic and I don't even stand for it. Yes, even in African society, there's homosexuality and all that, but I personally say when it comes to sexuality, yes, it's fluid. I accept that it's fluid, but I also feel that it's very bad when somebody is forced into an act, especially as a child, in return of getting a favor. So everybody's going for PDD, and they're not talking about who actually brought him into these acts, because they've been abusing boys, little boys, and getting them into these just bad sexual activities, and then in return trading it off with fame and all that. And then the worst thing is, it looks like if you're gonna ever be, I always say, like, because I like acting and all that, I always say, like, I'd really want to find myself in Hollywood and have a name for myself. But when I look, it's like the one thing, if you want to make it in Hollywood, that you must be willing to trade is yourself for happiness. And I have some medical background. Like I'm a medic to some degree, and I know happiness does not have a cure. You can manage it, but once you have it, it's for life. It's like HIV and AIDS. So if you want to make it as a celebrity in the United States, happiness itakuwa kama kusni chiu iko kwa kila kona. So I'm like, the worst thing about herpes is the times okay, sometimes when you take medication well, it can be managed, it's treatable, but it doesn't go away like completely. And so over time kuna kwanga like seasons when in a bloom in your body, maybe when your immune system is compromised, maybe you're stressed, or just things might cause it to break out. So that time you get wounds kwa mdomo, you get wounds in your privates and all that. And I'm like, is it a deal worth trading off? Like, you're looking at these people, they are billionaires, they're living large, they're living the life you want to live. And then there's you, and then you think, okay, they're living the life I want to live, but every day they're on medication for herpes. TTT. They're on medication for herpes because it's the thing they had to trade off. When we were growing up, we used to look at someone like Justin Bieber and be like, oh my God, this guy is, he's so small and whatever, whatever. And then now you learn that in the process of getting where he was, people took advantage of this child. They introduced him to things that are not, una feel like, oh God. And then now there's an adult who's battling with a lot of mental health, a lot of, conscience yako tu iko mbaya. And then it brings us back to the aspect of sacredness of sex. There's a place and there's a time for sex. And sex is good, and sex is divine, and sex is amazing. But is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth just trading everything? And for me, actually, the part that gets me is sex worth trading my relationship with my creator? Is sex worth creating a barrier between me and my God, that I cannot commune with my ancestors, that I cannot commune with my creator because I have chafuat myself, nimejichafua, nimejieka kwa mambo yenye, the things that I've been doing are not exactly the things that I was created for. And then I came to another realization that when you think of fasting and prayers, if there is a fast that touches the entity of Mother Nature, the entity of life, the entity of God, is if you fast as you fast sexually, like you deprive yourself of sex for a greater good, because it's like the thing all of us in common, we all like it. Like, we can all say, if we don't like a particular meal, I like cheese, you don't like cheese. I like meat, you don't like meat. I like milk, you don't like milk. But we can all consensuously, like most of us can all say, we like sex. We love sex. So if you can learn to like just deny yourself physical pleasure of sex as a sacrifice, and this kind of sacrifice is not just I want to meet up with someone, I want to meet up with guys and all that. Tusijidanganye, we're living in a society where you have toys. We're living in a society where pornography is like this. We're living in a society where Wi-Fi iko hivi, data easily accessible, so we can have as much sex as we want. If we can't even have it with people, we can have it with ourselves, masturbation. But fasting from sex is now saying, I will not masturbate. I will not meet up with this person. I will not use my toys. And then Ile are now saying, why am I doing this? Because I want to align myself with God. I want to align myself with my higher self. I want to align myself and save myself for a relationship where my partner views this act in the same way as I view it, views it with sacredness, knows that it's a good thing, it's something worth waiting for, it brings pleasure, and at the same time, it should not be abused. You know? It takes a lot to get there, but it's not impossible. If you want to fast, okay, it's nice that we like food and we decide like for maybe 12 hours, maybe 24 hours, we will deny ourselves food and fast and pray for something. But I feel like if you could deny yourself sex for like a few months, like 6 months, like no pornography, no masturbation, no toys, no casual meetups, no nothing sexual, avoid easy situations like you're watching those movies that could actually bring those sexual feelings. Avoid those setups or the content you're even watching on social media in a letter those feelings, and just simply focus on the fact that let me work on my work, let me work on my family, let me work on my spirituality, let me do other things that do not put me in a situation where I feel like I need to get laid. And let me not be a hypocrite. So, okay, I've decided, like, or we all decide, like, we're going to fast from sex because we're trying to align ourselves with God. We're trying to cleanse ourselves. We're trying to give sex the respect that it deserves. So what happens? What happens when the urge comes? Of which it will come. For some of us, it even comes like 3, 4, 5 times a day, and you're like, oh my God, why are we happy, God? So what do you do on those times? I heard from a very great woman, a very great woman. She told us, because I was like, okay, we would want to fast, but then what happens when the urge comes? When the urge comes, if you have a boyfriend, mtu kimbia. When the urge comes, ukiwa peke yako, you won't lie. People just decide like, I can sort this out by myself. It's the truth. So what do you do? In my personal opinion, when the urge comes, let it be your time for crying. If you're a Christian, let it be a time for prayer. Either you tell God, God, I do not, I feel my body is deceiving me. It wants. This is, sex is like food. It's actually a type of food. My body wants, but I want to give this thing its respect. I want to give it its proper place. So what do I do? What do I do? God, look at me in this position where my body is burning up. And God, be gracious enough to give me the strength to just overcome his feeling. Each time, if it is like financial grace that you need, God, in the place of this desire, give me financial grace. If feeling good, if it's like for your family has squabbles and everything, God, this desire hivi, please fix my family. Use that desire to be a time for crying for help for other things. Crying for help for your work, for your content creation, for your creativity, for your work, for your family, for your children, for your spouse. Make it a time like, oh God, lakini nasikia tu, hey, it's fire on this mountain. But God, I go forfeit it. But in the place of it, this thing, fix my family, fix my siblings, fix this, break these generational curses. I'm going to give it up for this. And the thing is, the interesting thing about celibacy, which is now fasting from sex, is that the first few days are hell. From personal experience, the first few days are hell. So I did it jana, do I have to do it today? But over time, actually the urge decreases, and you actually feel very empowered that, oh my God, so I can actually have control over my own body. Because how are you going to conquer the world? How are you going to rule the world when you cannot rule over your own emotions? How are you going to conquer if you can't conquer yourself? It has to start with your physical, and part of your greatest physical is your sexual urges. You need to have that control, and then as you know how to navigate through this control, and know the place of sex and respect it as it is. Over time, we start mastering other things, because we won't lie to each other. We've been places, tumepitia watu, tumepitia mahali. And with these people, whatever was their issues, whenever we slept with these people, whenever we engaged with these people, their issues became our issues. Our issues became their issues. So imagine the person who's been like with 20 people. I sip some tea. Huh? How much cleansing do you need to get rid of all these energies that you've carried? But life is gracious enough. Like, when you really want something, when you really, really want something, there's always a way, right? There's always a right way to go about it. But the thing I've discovered, it's like food. Let's use food. Good food doesn't taste nice, honestly. Good food is like herbs, a balanced diet, vegetables, fats, proteins, carbohydrates. A plate of it should be minerals, water. A balanced diet, homemade food, whole food, organic food. It doesn't taste as nice as fast food. But at the same time, the fast food, which is lots of fats, lots of carbohydrates, lots of sugars, It tastes good, but it's detrimental to our health. That said, good things. You want to have good sex. You want to give sex its sacredness. You want to meet up with your soulmate. You want to have a proper relationship. You want to have a functional family. It won't happen without these sacrifices. It won't happen without knowing that just because I feel I have to act. You have to be like pose. So I feel, but then I act. Then what? There's a friend of mine who's always asking me, like, why are you thinking about the end goal? Why can't you just live in the moment? And I'm like, I have to think, like, okay, I can be irrational. I'm a mother. I can be irrational. I have dreams. I can be irrational. I want to go places. These things won't happen by me just jumping on whatever wagon and saying, ho, ho, ho. Now, I was just thinking, kichwa inaanza kuniuma. I'm burning up because it's been a minute since I went live. Kwanza, this like TikTok live usually see people and then they're talking to you and stuff. Niko tu peke yangu. I've seen 1-2 people come and go, but hakuna mtu hata amesema hi, hakuna maswali, hakuna anything. Niko tu hapa. I feel like a bit cray, like for real. I'll publish the video and I'm proud nimefika 20 minutes. Ndaongezea 9 minutes because tuko 21. Hizi 9 minutes sijui naongea about nini, but I'm just emphasizing that give sex its sacredness and you will thank me later. If we give sex its sacredness, then we wouldn't have these issues that we're battling with Mother Nature. We wouldn't have these things that we're battling with ourselves. We wouldn't have these things about even having children that are born without like proper family setups. We would actually be living a life like even we ourselves are grateful, You'd be living a life that when something is not working, you can get on your knees. You can just look up to the highs, to the skies, to the mountains, to rushes, to sacred places and tell God, just saying it. You don't even have sometimes to use words, just even thinking it and asking God for things and things to be happening. But I feel like part of the reason that in our society things are so wrong is because there's no connection with our creator, there's no connection to the divinity of God and ourselves. We are so messed up, we've mixed ourselves up in so many things. In real sense, we are dirty and filthy by choice, by the choices we've been making, that we cannot even now get to a point and say like, I would want these, I want these, I hope I can have these and all that. And the beauty is, so long as you're breathing, that's a second chance. A second chance to do things right. A second chance to move from things that you've been doing and they're not working for you. In our society, people like all these sex talks and everything, but they want those sex talks on like positions, how to do it, little to secrets. We'll get to that pole in these episodes. But the first thing is, I do not want myself to be convicted by nature, by karma, by my ancestors for teaching people all these tips and tricks and everything without first emphasizing on the sacredness of the act itself. I would hope that everybody who watches my videos, my series, all the 3 seasons, 20 episodes each, will be watching them not to kukimbilia that person and like now show them the new style you've learned from me. I'd want you to first know that sex is sacred. Sex has its place, and sex is worth waiting for, and good sex is good sex, and good sex is the one that has the blessing of God, and it will come. And in my culture, we know even those women who are like priestesses and those men who are priests and everything, there's a time that comes in a human's life. You're like, even as a couple, we decide like our elders would decide like for 40 days they will not sleep with their wives because they are fasting of sex. And these 40 days, they'll be praying for our community. They'll be praying for the greater good. Even women would be like, we're not going to sleep with our husbands because we are, women are the wombs of we are very spiritual. Men are from the sun, they're physical. Women are from the moon, they're spiritual. And we would like decide for my family, because of all the things that are happening for my country, for my world, I am also going to deny myself sex, and I'm going to use this time to praying for mercy. Women are spiritual. We stand at the realm of the living and the dead, and we have abilities that are beyond us. Like when a woman cries out, there's always something that will always happen. Like there's always grace that will find this woman. So that said, there used to come times and we'd all decide in a community, we are not going to engage in sexual activity because we're going to spend our time crying to God for mercy, for rain, for mercy for our families, for mercy for our children, for our businesses, for our communities, for all that. So thank you, Tom, for mercy. Because we can't always have what we want. And as I said, yeah, that's why this first episode, I have made sure I emphasize that the most important thing about sex is its sacredness, is that it's not supposed to be misused. It's not supposed to be just thrown out there. It's supposed to be revered. After all, the only feeling that will give you a glimpse of heaven, a glimpse of a high that you'll never have is sex. So I think 30 minutes of me amount of content. Sasa, kesho is another day. I'll try and look for another 30 minutes kesho. And you can continue with episode 2. We can get to so many other things, but I'm glad that God knows, my ancestors know, my guardian angels know that I have started this whole conversation that will be long with the right approach by beginning by saying, this thing is sacred. Let's give it its proper place. This thing is sacred. It sells and it's been used so badly. But anyway, you can tell from all those people who've used it badly. Check out what is happening in Hollywood. All those people who've been using sex badly to manipulate and to use people. Look at people who we were all like looking up to and saying, hey, we. Now, unaibishwa. Unatolewa manguo kwa barabara because of this 5-minute, 10-minute thing. It's not worth it. Let's give sacredness, let's give sex its sacredness, and let's give sex its proper place, which is in a loving relationship of two people who are committed to each other. And even when it doesn't work, there's something they know that life goes beyond it. I'm done. And till next time, I love you. Believe in yourself, do good things, be kind, and remember, what is ageless is you. You're a spirit having a human experience. Bye-bye. I don't even know how to end the life. Yes.